Hi everyone, this is Mira. So as Julie did last month, I thought I would give you a glimpse into some of the work that we're doing currently, specifically in Yemen, where Christelle, my colleague, and I have been running consultations with women in all governorates of Yemen via WhatsApp. It's been, I would say, a crazy process. We started with key community mobilizers in different governorates of Yemen to establish networks of women who represent people other than the low-hanging fruit, who are usually talked to when such consultations happen. And since our goal was to field opinions, impressions, perspectives from women on peace and conflict and how they affect their surroundings and their everyday life, it was, of course, tough to reach out to people without seeming extractive and with always keeping in mind the very difficult overarching context that's now ongoing in Yemen. So we ended up shaping, I think, 10 focus group discussions, each of them as one WhatsApp group happening, like one WhatsApp group where the conversation was happening over 24 hours and sometimes more. We were able to insert some considerations and workarounds into our work that allowed for flexibility and adaptivity in receiving people's answers through text, through voice notes, through whatever medium they were comfortable with. And this allowed us to also create a kind of informality and trust while establishing rules for conversation, codes of conduct on how the flow will be facilitated. And so it was largely an iterative process that happened and built up internally. And then when we started having the conversations themselves, we were definitely learning as we went. There were pros and cons definitely to this process. And just looking now, since we just wrapped up the focus groups, I think definitely it was more participatory because of the platform we were using. It was definitely more inclusive than other consultations that we've seen because, for example, using Zoom in a place like Yemen would have been counterproductive, especially considering the governorates we were targeting. And other than that, we were, as I said, able to establish that trust, that familiarity in these virtual groups without having ever met any of these participants in person. So that for me was also very valuable. I would say cons-wise, we kind of live on WhatsApp now. It's definitely a second home for me. I check in, regularly with the participants that we've been talking to. It can be quite messy, quite noisy. But of course, when we're invested in the inputs that are coming and from the connections that we've created with these women, I mean, it became all the more valuable to maintain this and maintain these relationships. And also, just in the same vein, it became difficult to maintain momentum when we've been also trying to be flexible in how we welcome inputs from participants. So this all was also part of the learning process. But yeah, I mean, now that we've wrapped up the focus group discussions, we're going to be going into the reporting process, and we'll hopefully have more takeaways, even briefly, to share with all of you after we've discussed these super important headlines. So as we go into that phase, wish us luck, and we'll be in touch about it. Thank you.